Today I've got a powerful 7-string metal guitar exercise that you're going to want to practice today. Wait, where's my coffee? Hang on just a second. Oh, and it looks like my wife made some Asian buns. Maybe I should try one. That's good. Alright, let's get back to guitar. This is what you're about to learn. Now, I'm calling this a melodic death power metal style riff here because it's got some elements, as you just heard, from both of those genres, both of those subgenres of metal. Let's get to the lesson, but be sure to hang around to the end of the video because I'm going to talk a little bit more about this piece of music that you just heard. And of course, I'll share how I got this guitar tone as well. I'm just going to play this all the way through one time. There's 2 parts to this, and I'm going to break each part down separately. We'll go over this note by note. So here's what it sounds like by itself. Okay, so that first part, we're really focused on that really fast alternate picking and palm muting. I'm not full on palm muting on this. I've got my palm kind of rested there on the bridge, but it's not really like full on. I've kind of got it there, but just lightly there. So you kind of get that growl sound, kind of like this. You can kind of hear the difference there. It's just that slight little growl to it when you just barely lift your palm off. So it's a very light touch there. And the cool thing is, I know I'm harping on this, but the cool thing is you can kind of move your palm just slightly up and down to get some different textures as you're playing that. So just kind of remember that, kind of be conscious of that as you're alternate picking. Now this technique does take a little time to kind of get down and get accustomed to, but just practice it. Just slightly move that palm back and forth as you're palm muting. That's the key part to playing this part of that riff. The other parts, the notes, well, that's pretty easy. I'm just going to play these notes for you, and we'll go over the frets as well. So I'm not going to alternate pick these. I'm just going to play the actual individual notes first, okay? So pretty simple in nature there. We're starting out with that open B string in this case. I am in standard tuning, by the way. You guys know I'm always in standard tuning for my longtime followers. Thank you, by the way. So we're going 0, then 3, 2, then 6, 5, okay? And then the first time around, we're going to skip over to the next string, the E string, and we're going to play frets 8, 7, and 6, okay? Then we repeat that entire pattern, but that final piece, we're going to move that last part up a little bit, and we're going to be playing frets 7, 6, and 5. Okay, so let me go through this one more time. That's pretty much it. Again, you know, you can learn the notes or you can make up your own notes. I always encourage you guys to do that. Maybe you want to play something else. Maybe you've got something else in your head as you're playing those notes and like, hey, you know, I think this other series of notes sounds better. By all means do that. Again, the technique I want you to practice is that fast alternate picking with that light kind of on and off touch palm mute that I was talking about. All right, part 2 to this, the final part to this, is really just a series of power chords that we're playing, and this is where we get into more of the power metal with power chords, no pun intended. But this is more of that power metal style as well, and it's got a very melodic feel to it as well. There's a really cool melody, a lot of cool melodies that you could put behind this progression if you're playing leads or doing vocals. So anyway, here are the chords. I'm just going to play it through and then we'll talk about the chords. So we're going to that E power chord, then a G power chord, then we're going to move to our heavy strings, the B and E strings there, and we're going to play a D power chord. But then I do a little riff. I always like to add these little chops in the middle of power chords so that they're not just power chords. This makes it more fun to play, and it just kind of adds a little bit of flavor to the riff. So let me go over that part with you real quick here. So all I'm doing here is just palm muting those notes, and this is more of a regular palm mute, okay? This is not the palm muting that we're talking about earlier where it's that light touch. This is kind of a full-on palm mute here to get that chunky sound, all right? But we're on that D power chord, playing the regular power chord, but we're alternating those notes back and forth. These are all downstrokes, by the way, but we're alternating back and forth between the two strings. So let me play it for you again really slow. Now, the second and final time that I play that progression is almost the same progression, but instead of going to that D, we're going to go from C to D. And here's how that sounds. Now, what I'm doing on those notes, okay, again, I'm playing a C, that really low C, then I'm playing the D power chords, but I'm starting out with some different finger positions there, and I know there's a technical term for these types of power chords. I like to keep everything really simple, mainly for my sake, because I'm like Leonard Skinner, I'm a simple man. Anyway, so what I'm doing here, I'll call out the frets. You've got your regular power chord up here, right? You've got your regular C power chord. So instead of starting out like that, I've actually got my third finger on that second fret of the E string there, okay? So I play that, and then I bring it down to a regular power chord. So it's 1 and 2, then 1 and 3. And I palm mute in between those, right? So I'm playing frets 1 and 2, then I palm mute that first string, and then I go to the frets 1 and 3 there to complete the power chord. Now, we apply that same concept to the next chord, that D chord. It's just a little bit different position there, okay? We're playing the frets 3 and 3 on those first two strings, those together. So you're barring those. And then you're palm muting that first note just like you did on the prior chord, and then you're going to come down and play a normal power chord, which will be 3 and 5. So again, and then I just end it on that E power chord, kind of where we started this second part here. Let me know in the comments what you think about this 7-string lesson, what you think about this riff. Now, one thing I want to point out real quick, and I'm gonna share some info about the actual music clip that you heard, and of course I'll share what I'm playing through and all that good stuff, because hey, we like to know these things as guitar players. We like to know, where did that tone come from? I'm gonna share that with you. But the one thing I want you to get down here is not so much the exact notes that I was playing here. I want you to grasp more the concepts, okay, the methods that we're using. In other words, I want you to get really good at that alternate picking style with that really light touch of your palm. And I know I've talked about this on a few other prior videos, and that's really what you want when you're playing some of those lower notes, like especially a 7-string, or I know some of you play 8 strings, a lot of you down tune your guitars. So try that technique. That will bring out more of that low growling sound. And also we went over some power chords and just some different ways to spice those power chords up. I know I've got several videos that I've made in the past about playing different types of power chords, and I just think it's so important, and that's why I keep revisiting that style on videos like this, on lessons like this, because I really want you to grasp that as well, that when you're playing power chords, they don't always have to be just power chords. You can put your fingers in some different positions, try some different notes, note variations, and have some different sounds come out of your power chords, and just really spices up the song. So where did this little clip come from? I'll play it again for you. This is actually just a tiny piece of a small music piece that I wrote just yesterday for my other channel that I own with pro audio engineer Ken Candela. So we own a channel called Metal Mastermind. Actually, I'll put the video link up there for you when it's available. I think we're about to edit that together here pretty soon. But yeah, that's a channel that a really good friend of mine and I started last year in 2020, and we started that channel really to help musicians that really want to take their music to the next level, and they want to put music out there, they want to get professional recordings, and also we're going to be touching on how to promote and market your music as an independent musician. So if you're interested in that sort of thing, if that's where you're going with your guitar playing and music, you'll definitely want to follow Metal Mastermind on YouTube. I'll also leave a link to our channel in the description of this video as well. Now you're probably wondering, Jason dude, what plugin are you using to get that tone? That was pretty cool. Well, I'm not using a plugin. As you know, for probably the past like 10, 20, maybe 25, 30 videos that I've made, I have primarily been using my EVH amp. Now you may be thinking, well Jason, your past several videos I see the amp sitting kind of behind you there. Now there's this really cool axe over there. Yeah, so where did your amp go? Well, I moved some things around in my studio. I had a chair where you see my amp sitting right now. I had a pretty big chair in there and it was just taking up so much space, and having the amp over here in the corner, it was just really tight with my studio being here. And then I bought this pedal board, and just having the mic there, just everything was just kind of cluttered. I'm already in a very small 10 by 11 studio room here. So I decided to take the chair out of the studio, place it in another room, and I decided to put my amp over here, and I have much more space now. It just seems so much less cluttered, and I feel a lot better. You know how when things are cluttered, you're like your mind's kind of cluttered, right? Now you may be wondering, well Jason, so if I want to come in your studio and hang out and record, well, where am I going to sit? Well, I do have a tiny chair, and it's over here against this cool black backdrop that I created. Now you guys may have caught this in I think 2 or 3 videos ago. I showed you how I created this backdrop and why I created this backdrop here. And I'll tell you again, it's for a metal rhythm guitar course that I'm creating for you guys. Actually, I'll give you the name. It's called Metal Riff Master. So I am in the middle of creating this really comprehensive metal riff course for you guys. I will let you know when that is available. I don't have an actual date for that yet, but if you want to know when it's available, if you want to be the first to know, make sure you are signed up on my email. That's in the description of this YouTube video as well. There's a link to give you a free guitar practice guide, so that's where you're going to sign up at. And I'll send all my email subscribers notifications when cool stuff comes out. Plus I send you what I call Metal Guitar Friday. It's kind of an update on all the cool stuff that's happened. So make sure you're signed up. You will be the first to know when that course is available. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up. I hope this was helpful, and I hope it was a fun exercise for you to play on 7-string. Until next time, as always, keep it metal.